In the 15th century, society was different in comparison to the society we are living today. At that time, people rely on their beliefs to explain their surroundings, whereas today, we approach things we have yet to understand by relying on rationality and science. Because of the dominance in religious belief at that time, it was also how the society was governed. In the past, the head of the state was their religious leaders. Anything that is considered a new teaching that deviates from the common beliefs of the society was considered a threat. One of the biggest threats at that time was the practice of witchcraft. They were not only a threat to their beliefs, the order of the society, but they are also feared by the public as they have supernatural abilities. Witches have the ability to do spell casting where they recite a certain verse to cast magic towards people. This can impact their life depending on the spell casted. Some practice necromancy where they conjure the spirits of the dead for revelations or prophecies. However, one practice that is particularly bizarre and is only found amongst witches in Asia is where they have the ability to detach their head and fly wherever they want. In today's episode, we will be talking about the Penanggalan. We read, listen, recount stories that fascinate us. It's the stories that we can relate to the most are the ones that become a part of who we are. It excites us knowing that living in the ordinary can also be extraordinary. From the tales and legends that are forgotten and the stories that keep us up at night, I bring you Stories from the Dark. And I'm your host, the Eniqma. There are many variations to the name of the Penanggalan. In Thailand, they are called the Krasu. In Laos, they call them Kasu. In Cambodia, they are Up. And in the Philippines, they refer to them as Manananggal. They all share the same characteristic, where they have a long unkempt black hair with their intestines dangling below their neck. Yellow liquid oozes from its intestines, which covers its tract that is said to be dangerous to those who touches it as it can cause rash. It is said that it would only come out at night after 8 p.m. until sunrise in the hunt for blood in order to gain beauty and power. However, there are other stories that have reported sightings of a male Penanggalan, which suggests that this can be practiced by both genders. Once they are done hunting for the night, they would unite with their body once again and resume their day-to-day life like a normal individual. According to the lore, there are 3 different ways to identify a Penanggalan. One way is their frequent aversion from maintaining eye contact. The second way is their need to cover their neck. The third way is if they keep a huge pot of vinegar in their home. The reason why is that in order to fit into their torso, once they unite with their body, the Penanggalan have to bathe so that their intestines would contract into a smaller size. People say they prefer to work as a midwife. It is said that they prefer the blood of a newborn baby the most. When they help other women delivering babies, they are seen to be biting and wetting their lips as if they're hungry to feast. There are ways to avoid the Penanggalan. One way is to hang the plant called mangkuang. Each of the corners of its branches has hundreds of spikes, which is enough to discourage the Penanggalan. It is said that they can get caught by it quite easily. This is the reason why families with a newborn are encouraged to hang this plant around their house. In the past, typical Malay houses usually have columns which elevate their houses from the ground. This is why some people say hanging the mangkuang is not enough as it still gives the opportunity for the penanggalan to enter houses from beneath the wooden floor. This can be avoided by planting pineapple fruit below the house. Once they are caught on one of the traps, they can be killed by using a parang. Generally, the penanggalan is afraid of sharp objects. This is why pregnant women are advised to keep small knives in their reach. According to the locals, if you ever found the host's body, you are to turn it facing backward, so that once their head is connected, it will be in the wrong direction. With this, their secret as a penanggalan will be exposed to the public. In an article by kisahseram.com, there is a story in Kota Belud, Sabah, which took place in the 90s. The locals were very familiar with the penanggalan. The reason why is that an incident happened a few years back during a funeral. A car accident occurred which involved the life of the father of the imam in the local village. During the burial, the imam felt that there was something odd about the body of his father, so he requested for them to check his body for the last time. Little did they know that they were burying a banana stalk as a substitute instead of the original body. They speculated that this was the work of the penanggalan, and the villagers were afraid that the same incident will happen once again. One day, an old man came into the village whom unexpectedly built a small hut for himself and lived in seclusion from the rest of the village. Many were wary of his strange behavior, which led to them speculating who he really is. He lived alone and disliked interacting with the locals. Some had the opportunity of talking to him, and according to them, he might be a Filipino, which was apparent from his slang. What is strange is how he always used a collared shirt to cover his neck. However, this speculation dissipated after a few months, as there were no reports of disturbances by a penanggalan nor by the old man. One day, one of the villagers passed away due to a car accident. The accident was so severe that the body was constantly bleeding even after it was cleansed. Adding to this, they have yet to know who the old man is, and the townspeople grew anxious as this reminded them of the incident a few years back. When the locals gathered at the house of the deceased, they were surprised to see the old man attending the funeral. Considering that he doesn't know any of the people in the village, there has to be a reason for his presence. When the Quran was recited to bless the soul of the dead, the old man's face was dark red, as if he was resisting a great deal of pain and was seen to be restless. He was walking back and forth whilst clenching his fists, making a deep growling sound. All this time, his gaze was fixed on the dead man's body. The people around him noticed his strange behavior, so they recited the Quran louder, and after a while, the old man left abruptly. Quickly, the people buried the dead man's body and went to the house of the old man. He was never found. In a famous book which describes the practice of the penanggalan can be found in detail in Hikayat Abdullah. The author of the book is Abdullah bin Abdul Qadir Munshi, who is a famous writer in Malacca in 1845. In the book, he wrote his life journey detailing the beliefs of the Malay and the Chinese people. He expressed to his readers that if he were to elaborate their practice and beliefs, his book would have more volumes than it originally is. In one of the chapters of his book, he vehemently rebuked the belief practiced by the local people. He listed all the type of ghosts he knew, and one of them was the penanggalan. This caught the attention of his friends, in which they asked him to describe what he knows about the practice. He recounts that it's owned by a master to cause harm and to terrorize other people. Once they are ready to transform, the woman's head separates from her body. She would fly and hunt for blood. She would suck the blood of her victims until they are dead. Abdullah ended the chapter by swearing to God that he refused to believe in the practice of black magic. And he told his readers in his book countless times that it would only lead to corruption. If you like this video, make sure to hit subscribe, turn on your notification bell. If you have any horror stories you'd like to share with me, email us at theeniqma@gmail.com. Thank you for watching.